What is going on, guys? Welcome to the inaugural episode of the Knockoff Podcast. I am your knockoff co-host, OldManTup, and with me is a gentleman who needs no introduction, and he is...
I think I do need an introduction, Tup. Not many people know me, but what's going on, guys? My name is Burke, and I am so happy to be here as one of the co-hosts of the Knockoff.
Excellent. Now, Berkeley and I, both good friends from the GBA, both fans of podcasts, and two guys who like to talk a lot. So we got together and thought, you know what, I bet we get together and talk about some Pokemons as well as other gaming things. So we hope you enjoy this because I know it's something we're going to enjoy doing.
Hell yeah.
Alright, so we're going to start off this episode with some Pokemon news. And Berkeley's going to take the first thing because I can't pronounce this thing's name.
I don't know why you can't. It's not that hard. So, Pokemon just leaked the newest Pokemon, possibly coming out in 7th Gen, possibly coming out in Pokemon Z. Magiana, which was the Japanese name, but the localized name is Magirna. Not much is known about it. Its design is kind of interesting. There's been some speculation. It's the love child between Klinklang and Diancie. But it looking like it's going to be the Steel Psychic type, maybe the Fairy of the next gen. Who knows? It's the man-made Pokemon, and it's really put a lot of hype in the Pokemon community after not much news since pretty much Oris. So it's a nice little nugget of news that we got here. I'm looking forward to whatever it comes out for, and I know it's going to be in the new movie with Volcanion, and I guess Volcanion's trying to like hunt it or something, but we're gonna see.
Yeah, always good to know there's a new Pokemon movie coming out because what more do we need than another Pokemon movie?
There's only been like what, 12, 13, 18?
I thought we were. I was gonna say I think we're at least into the teens now.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't really watched Pokemon movies since like the second one, so, and I think that was the one with Entei.
No, that was the third one. That was Pokemon 3. The second one was Pokemon 2000 with Lugia and the legendary birds.
That's what it was. It's been a while since I watched one of these Pokemon movies, but usually one of these Pokemon are like featured in the new movie that are released in the next gen, so maybe people are looking at it and saying maybe it's the next gen coming out, but it's something.
Yeah. There's a lot of aspects of this thing that, I mean, just looking at it could really tie it into a second version of X and Y. I mean, it's got that core, which is red and blue, which is more or less the same colors across the breastplate of the Super Zygarde form. I mean, X and Y were red and blue, and yeah, there's just a lot of things. A lot of people are saying, hey, this looks like it really ties in, or just theory-moning what could be going on. And
yeah, seeing as we haven't really heard much about the new Zygarde form since it was officially released, seeing as we haven't heard much of it, it seems like they're really gearing up for Pokemon Z or XZ and YZ or whatever you want to call it. But it seems like this might just be a new Pokemon for the next, like the trio of games to come out. But I think people are really excited, hoping they can get a 7th gen, but we're gonna have to wait.
Yep. Okay, now something else that's going on in Pokemon news. It is the 20th anniversary of Pokemon. Woo! So they are doing a bunch of cool stuff for that. And one of the first things they are doing is currently, it is the 15th when we're recording this. I'm not exactly sure when it's going to be uploaded. But GameStop is still running the Mythical Pokemon Mew event. What that is, if you live in the United States, I believe it's exclusive to the US at this current time, I could be mistaken, but if you go to GameStop and you say, hey, I want the Mythical Pokemon Mew code card, please use your manners, they give you this card, and what it does, got instructions on the back with one of those little scratch off like a lottery ticket if you're old enough to play the lottery, and what you do is you scratch that off, it gives you a code, and you go online with the mystery gifts and you get it by inputting the code. I've got one, my daughter's got one, and they are just fantastic little Pokemon to have. Who doesn't love Mew?
I mean, ever since I've been looking for it underneath the truck,
yeah,
Mew's always been that one of those Pokemon everyone wants to get. And if anyone is old enough to remember trying to look underneath a truck by the SSN looking for Mew,
Yeah, fun stuff.
it's not there. It was never there.
Nope.
But speaking of Mews and trucks, also for the 20th anniversary, they're releasing on the 27th, Red and Blue, a re-release for the 3DS. That's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm going to be picking up one myself. I still have my original Red version, so I don't see the need for me to get it. But it's a nice little release, especially for the newer generation, if they have not played Red and Blue, which I highly recommend, because that's the start of Pokemon. There's so much nostalgia related to it, and I recommend, if anyone hasn't played it, definitely pick it up. It's a great game, absolutely great game.
Oh, absolutely. Again, I agree with you. I still have my original Blue cartridge, and unless it's like ridiculously cheap, I personally don't enjoy buying digital copies of games to begin with.
You still got that old mindset, Tup?
Yeah, well, I mean, something happens to my 3DS, however much money I just spent on that game just went down the toilet. So, yeah, I don't know, that's just not my thing. But let's roll on to a little bit more competitively based news, and we're going to let Berkeley take away what's going on in those Smogon tiers.
So, recently, with February, there were a few changes. Some of them are just still from the the split from the megas and the non-megas, such as like Ampharos and Charizard. Ampharos has just been moving down. It's finally reached PU. It's not that great of a mon in any of the higher tiers, just because it's slow and not particularly powerful. And Charizard's finally reached down to NU. That it used to be NU anyway, so 5th gen used to be NU, so it's finally made its way back down there. But some interesting changes, at least in my perspective. Hoopa is now an RU. I think that's a great change. Hoopa's a wall breaker, and if you know anything about RU, there's a lot of fat mons in there, and it's a really annoying tier because of that. So it's nice to start bringing in wall breakers into RU, because it was just like, you got like Alomola, Amoonguss, Tangrowth. You just got all these fat mons, and it's nice to have a wall breaker. Alakazam's moved down to UU for about the 6th time since X and Y came out, so there's that. It's been bouncing around from both tiers, and Cryogonal, Barbaracle, and not Barbaracle, Cryogonal and Prinplup moved down to PU, which I'm not too familiar with PU, but that might be pretty good. It's some hazard removal that I think PU desperately needs, so that's pretty interesting. Omastar has moved down to NU, and Barbaracle moved up to NU from BL4, but who really cares? BL4 was basically NU anyway. So those are all the tier changes for February. Not really too much in the way of like really groundbreaking tier changes. There's not going to be any of those until like the next game comes out, some that really shake up the meta, but there's some good changes down in there. I really like the Hoopa down to RU. I think that's just it's gonna be very hard to plan for, and I think it's gonna kind of shake it up. It's gonna be less fat and stally, especially with more wall breakers. So there's some stuff in there. So what do you think, Tup?
None of those changes really affect the tiers that I mostly play, so I'm gonna have to take your word for it on the lower tier stuff. But I mean, I'm always a fan of seeing something move a tier just to get a test to see whether or not they think it's viable there.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know some tiers, like I know OU and UU really well. UU is my home tier. Tier I played the hell out of in Black and White, and I played the hell out of in X and Y, and then I stopped in Oris because then all the megas came out and I didn't know what the hell was going on. But whatever. So Hoopa wasn't really doing much in UU. Like no one used it. It was pretty bad. 4 times knockoff weakness. It just kind of sat there, middling 70 base speed, 150 special attacks, pretty good, but it's not good enough. It's for the speed it has. It would just die way too quickly. No one used it, so it dropped down to RU. Who knows if there's going to be a suspect test really for it, but it'll be interesting. Alakazam, it's in UU. I not much to say about that. I don't even think it's that good, to be honest. I'm gonna get some hate because it's that 1st gen psychic type that everyone loves. But it's just, I don't know. For those stats, it just has a really disappointing damage output for some reason. I don't know what it is. And yeah, the tiers have remained pretty stable month to month. You know, there's not really too much going on just because we're really far into the Oris metagame. There's nothing really to genuinely shake it up right now.
Right, until we get another set of Pokemon infused into the metagame, or we get some new move tutors on Mons that are going to make things a little more viable than they were before, I don't anticipate much moving higher or lower in the next little bit.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate, but that's why we're looking ahead. This Magirna, which Tup doesn't seem to be able to pronounce.
Yeah.
And see how that helps to start to get some speculation on new games and whatnot. So I'm really looking forward to that, and hopefully get something new soon, so the metagame doesn't get too stale.
Right. Now we're going to move on to something else that changed this season that neither you and I are terribly familiar with, but we both get informed by our buddy over on the Kanto Cast. The information about VGC 2016. Now, there were quite a few groundbreaking changes with what was and what wasn't allowed between this season and last season. Namely, the primal form of Groudon and Kyogre being allowed, as well as some of the, what most competitive people would say, the Ubermons from that tier. And things like Xerneas are allowed. I mean, almost everything that can be caught in-game is allowed now. And compared to last season, where you saw Landorus Incarnate, Mega Kangaskhan, maybe Mega Salamence, and a few other filler Mons, this really opens up the possibilities and opportunity for people to use a lot more interesting Mons. Unfortunately, that doesn't seem to be what's happening yet. Berkeley, why don't you tell us what was happening at that regionals and how it just seems to be a mirror of last season, but with new Mons?
Yeah, there was the Virginia regionals. Looking at the teams of the at least the top 8 teams, it's the same thing that's happened last. And I don't know, this is why I just, for one, I'm not a big doubles fan, but this is probably the reason I can't seem to get into VGC. It's just 4 of the top 8 teams were the exact same. Mega Kangaskhan, Mega Salamence, Primal Groudon, Xerneas, Talonflame, and Smeargle. Which, at the very least, there's Smeargle, which I think is actually pretty interesting, because I think Smeargle is pretty bad. Just saying. But it can work, seeing as it can know any move. So probably Dark Void Smeargle is probably very common.
Oh,
just
right.
To put both your opponent's mons to sleep, which Dark Void.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
But aside from those 6 mons, there's very few variations. Some teams swapped out Xerneas for Cresselia. Some teams swapped out Talonflame for like Cresselia, because you know Cresselia is just fat and stuff. There was 2 teams that are a little bit different. One team had a Kyurem White and a Lilligant. The other team was a Rain team with Primal Kyogre and Mega Rayquaza, which I still don't understand. Mega Rayquaza and Mega Mawile. So that there was at least one team that was like a Trick Room / Rain team, which could work, but I don't know, without any sort of rules in place, just here's all the mons, just do something with them. It's just everyone goes around the best mons, and I understand you're trying to win generally a prize, so you're gonna use the best mons, but so I don't know, that to me that's why it's hard for me to get into VGC. Maybe we can have someone on here from some other podcast that we're friends with, might try to convince me differently, but
might have to send a letter to the Kanto region about that.
Yeah, we might have to, because I mean, it's VGC's don't get me wrong, VGC's interesting, but I don't know. My biggest thing is leagues. Like, that's my thing. I really like them, and VGC, I don't know, it just hasn't like really gotten me like super hyped. I saw the when I first saw the VGC 16 rules, and I'm like, wait, so Mega Rayquaza is allowed?
Yeah.
That thing's just broken. And I know it's different in doubles, but still, it's a Mega that doesn't have to hold a Mega Stone. Like, what? Nintendo, what are you doing? So, I guess it's definitely a shakeup from last season of VGC. Definitely a shakeup from VGC 15. You're not seeing any more Landorus Therians. You're not seeing any more Thundurus Therians. Or at least not nearly as much. And but those are just being replaced with, like, Primals.
Yeah.
So, what can you do?
Yeah, but if you guys are interested in getting more in-depth knowledge about the VGC, be sure and let us know in the comments, because we are looking to bring guests onto the Knockoff podcast and get them talking about things maybe Berkeley and I aren't the best at, or maybe things that are a little bit more relevant to some of our viewers. So if that's something you guys are interested in getting, maybe we could get a VGCer on here who hits regionals up, then can tell us exactly what's going on. Maybe we could send a letter to the Kanto Nation and see if maybe they would like to send a representative over and school us on some things VGC. So if that's something you'd like to see or hear, I guess, make sure you leave a comment down below saying VGC is for me, and we will be sure and get that sorted for you.
Now, I'm just going to guess that Blue's going to comment in this, put a comment in the comment section saying, yes, I'm interested in VGC. Bring me on.
Yeah. I think that's a distinct possibility.
Distinct? I think that's a very, very likely possibility.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to move on to another segment of news, and it's going to be a little bit more central to Berkeley and Mizheart, and that's going to be what's going on in GVA right now. Now, this is the regular season just ended Sunday. It is now Monday, so we have the playoff lineup for you guys, and this is how it's going to be. What happened was in each division, well, in each conference, the teams were ranked 1 through 4 for the seeding. And the way it was seed 1 versus seed 4 and seed 2 versus seed 3. So that was how it was broken down in each conference. And with the Kanto conference, we will have A-Drive versus ElScizor, which is the St. Louis Rampardos and the Borussia Donphan. And Yo-Fizz versus Pokemon, which is the Atlanta Haluchas and the New Orleans Pelipers. Now, if we're going to the Johto Conference, we have Megamogwai versus Mulvo 19, which is Real Muril and the Cincinnati Loudred. And then we have Superblaw 411 and I forgot George's name on YouTube.
Sceptile MC.
Sceptile MC, I have George written down. Oh, crap. Sorry, George. But that is the Boston Red Sox, who I beat this season, versus the San Francisco Arcaniners.
Too many San Francisco teams.
Yep, got a pair of them this year. But that is our playoff lineup moving forward. So I hope everybody's excited for that. I know I am, even though I'm not going to be in it.
Yeah, there's going to be some good matches. There's going to be really good matches. So I'm really looking forward to it. Which match are you looking forward to most, Top? In the first round.
The match I'm looking forward to the most, I'm going to say, because if they were in different conferences, could have been a finals match, and that's going to be Nick versus George. I mean, everybody in that conference could go to the finals, and that's really weird.
Yeah.
Just looking at it, because nothing against the guys in the other conference, but I picked 2 people who I think could make it, and I predict to make it, and I look at that other conference, it's like, well, I mean, it's a roll of the dice who's going to win.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to Fizz versus John, the sequel.
Yeah.
That second Fizz John match a few weeks ago, that was interesting. But I think Fizz is going to put in a lot of time this go around, and really, to me, they've been 2 of the top competitors this season. I'm just really looking forward to them battling out again.
Right.
So it's going to be it's going to be a really, really good playoffs. I mean, top 8 teams,
Right.
and you got people trying to defend their titles, like Miguel. You've got people trying to gain back their title, like Nick, and Dan just kind of getting back into the playoffs. He's going to really try to fight to win this season. So it's going to be something. It's going to be really, really good.
All right. Well, I think it's just shows to the strength of the competitors in the thing. Both of last year's finalists are in the playoffs again.
Yeah.
With A-Drive and Mega Mogwai.
Yeah, and a lot of the playoff teams from last season as well, like John, back in the playoffs again. Maybe he makes a better go around last time, get into the finals. Who knows? But there's going to be the tough competition from the regular season is just ramping up in this playoffs. Who knows who's going? I don't look at any of these matches and say this person is definitely winning. I just don't see that.
Right. All right. Now we have 4 competitors from each conference. If you had to pick who you think would be in the finals, as of right now, who are you going with?
Okay. So for the Kanto conference, I don't know. I'm gonna go with I'm still on the Fizz train. Fizz just kind of messed around these past few weeks and still 9-3. Like, holy crap, he's doing really well. But then again, I look at Lars and I'm like, I like Lars has just been doing so well with such a great team, and then it's just like John, and I'm like, oh no, he's been doing really well with a great team too. But and then Dan, to me, I think Dan's gonna work even harder. I think he's gonna be the hardest worker in his playoffs just because he just barely got in. But
Dan is one of those guys that always gets underestimated, who always performs when he needs to.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with Fizz. I'm gonna say Fizz for Kanto and Johto. Ooh, my faith in George is shaken a little bit just from how he's playing towards the end. Nick, I don't know. See, again, so you know what? I'm gonna place my faith in someone, and I think it's gonna be Nick. I'm gonna say Nick. You know what? Nick, you're doing it. You're going all the way.
Okay, now if I had to pick, I'm gonna say it's gonna be Lars, because I think Lars's team has pretty much the best matchup versus anybody else in the Kanto Conference. He showed throughout the season, he's consistent. I mean, and his team just has so many options that he can bring every single week that you just don't have enough Mons to prepare for.
And Landorus.
And Landorus. That thing. But he just has so many possibilities on his team. So I'm going to pick Lars from Kanto. And if I had to go from Johto, I think George. Subtile M's Jarge. Yeah. Jarge Binks. George, I think George, Subtile MC, is going to lace up his bootstraps, pull up his britches, and just lay the smack down on some people. And I think he's going to make the run, go all the way to the finals. I don't know that he's going to beat Lars or ElScizor, but I really think that if I had to pick one as of right now, I think it's going to be Lars and George.
It's so hard to call, though.
Right, because everybody in it could go.
Yeah.
And that's scary. That there isn't a team that's like, well, that team's definitely not going to make it.
I mean, there was one team that I was like, they had the slogan "worst to first," and they said they were going to make the playoffs, and I didn't believe in them that much. So I wonder who that was.
I don't know who you're talking about.
You're right. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
You wouldn't be able to pronounce the team right anyways.
Wait. No, it's the Pittsburgh Piratas. That's
close enough. Moving on. Okay, so Now here's where we're going to get a little bit interactive with this video. What we want you guys to do is a segment we will be doing in the future. We're going to call it the Spotlight League format Pokemon. And what we're going to do is take one Pokemon, and we're going to, because what we're the most familiar with, is go based off of its GBA usage and the GBA format as far as the draft league goes. And what we're going to do is we're going to spotlight one Pokemon each knockoff podcast. And what we're going to do is pretty much do an in-depth analysis on how it stacks up in the GBA format. So what we want you guys to do is go back down to that comment section and put, we would like to see Spotlight Pokemon of the Week, Kingdra, Swampert, Mega Sceptile. You know, give us something.
Kingler. I thought you said Kingler, and I'm like,
Kingler.
We could do Kingler. I've never seen
We could
it
do
used.
Kingler.
It's got agility.
I mean, we can speculate.
But yeah, any mon you want to see that you think would be interesting to hear an analysis on how good it is, or how bad it is in league format, let us know in the comment section.
Right. And no Pokemon is too bizarre. So if you want to know how we think Dunsparce would do in this league, you slap a choice scarf on it and you headbutt everything.
You can be that kind of guy.
Yeah.
Also, no Claydolls, please. I don't like Claydol.
You're going to tell them what not to say, and then they're going to pick it.
Oh, damn.
You got to use reverse psychology with people.
Please pick Claydol. I want to do an analysis on it.
Excellent.
All right.
Rapid spin, all the things.
Rapid spin kills.
That's
Everything.
it.
That's all you got to do.
Okay, now, that's everything we pretty much wanted to cover in the first episode of the Knockoff Podcast. Now what we're going to do is we're pretty much just going to go over a handful of topics to get you guys more acquainted with Berkeley and myself and what we like. You know, what are some of our favorite things, what games we like to play besides Pokemon, etc., etc. So we're going to take turns pretty much just answering these questions to give you guys maybe some common ground with us. So you say, hey, I really like that too. Could you talk a little bit more about that? I didn't know anybody else really enjoyed that. Or something like that. So we're going to start off with non-Pokemon related things because everything else has been Pokemon related. So, Berkeley, what are some of the things, games, that you like to play that aren't Pokemon?
Any Mario games? I've been playing Mario since before I could walk. I mean, Mario's just been like amazing. I absolutely love the Legend of Zelda franchise, except for the recent games. Spirit Tracks is an abomination. But I love playing Legend of Zelda. I'm actually doing an LP stream LP of Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. Plug. So I just those games are like my childhood. So I love those games. Recently, I've gotten a little bit of an addiction to Duelist. I know you don't play it that much, but I picked it up like a month and a half ago, and I play it way too much now. I play like so many different games. BioShock is one of my favorites. I love BioShock. That game is like crazy. The story's amazing. So if you never played BioShock, pick up BioShock. But pretty much any game I'll try at least once. I'm not huge into like racing games or anything like that, so don't ask me about those. But mostly just I've been playing Nintendo just almost forever, so those kind of games always just have a soft spot in my heart. So Mario, Legend of Zelda, just best ever. So what about you, Tup? What games do you like?
The game I probably play the most right now, aside from Pokemon, is Black Ops 3. And I will admit, I had not played a Call of Duty game since Modern Warfare 2.
Same.
So this was a little bit of shell shock for me, and I'm really surprised that I like it so much, because I had tried playing a few of the other games and really didn't like them. But actually, today, I finally made it to level 5 and couldn't figure out why I wasn't getting any more experience. Turns out you have to prestige at that point, so I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I like a lot of first-person shooter games. Mass Effect and the series is probably one of my all-time favorite game series.
I didn't mention that one. I love Mass Effect.
Yeah, I sit down and play through the games over and over again. I'm one of those guys.
Same. I played the multiplayer on that for Mass Effect 3. I don't know what it was about that one, but I just loved it.
Yeah. I think they really got the gameplay down in that. The story didn't end well, as everyone knows who's ever played Mass Effect, spoiler alert.
It was a little bit disappointing.
Yeah. The overall feel and play of the game I thought was superior to the other two games.
Yeah, one was just kind of weird. I don't know what was about it. There's just the shooting in the beginning was just like,
yeah,
good luck hitting your target. We're just gonna sway wildly. And then second was just a very first-person shootery, or third-person shootery, not very much RPG part of it.
Right.
And I think they got it. Mass Effect 3, just that
Right.
that ending.
I thought the second one definitely had the best story, though.
Oh yeah, second one was still my favorite storyline.
Yeah. But, I mean, I've been a fan of the Halo franchise since it came out, so I enjoy Halo games. As far as some things I play on the computer, I like playing Rocket League. It's one of those silly games that you can just blow off steam and enjoy playing at the same time. So I really enjoy that. I've been playing that for quite a while now.
I've never actually played Rocket League before.
Oh yeah, you should look into it. Well, I play it on Steam. I think it's also available on PS4.
Oh, I don't have a PS4. I got Steam. Listen, no, you play Black Ops 3 on the Xbox, right?
Correct. I play on Xbox One.
Of
But I
course.
play Rocket. I don't have a PS4 either. But I play Rocket League on Steam on my PC.
What I'm saying is like I got Black Ops 3, but computer. No one seems to like playing games on the computer for some reason. PC
Yeah.
Master Race.
But I mean, there are very few games I play on my 3DS aside from Pokemon. One of them is Fantasy Life. If you've never played Fantasy Life, it's one of those cute games that you can play and get really into. But I mean, you pick a job that you want to do for your life, and I mean, the only good ones, if you want to beat the game, are the ones where you like master a weapon, which is like the hunter, the paladin, the mercenary. But those are all fun, and a really enjoyable, cute little game. But those are pretty much my non-Pokemon related games. My daughter just got Minecraft for the PC, and I'm dipping my toes into the Minecraft scene, which is interesting to say the least.
Listen, Tup. If you want, I got Minecraft. Though it doesn't work on my computer for some reason because it's like kind of blowing up something or other. But we can start the knockoff world and just
The
do
knockoff world.
something.
I like that. Nice.
One game I didn't mention, Fire Emblem. Love that game. Absolutely love it. Played it since the first one that came out in the United States, and have gotten every single game since then because it's just amazing like that. So it's one of those strategy games that I literally play over and over again. That game I play over and over again. I don't know if you know Tales of Symphonia.
I am actually familiar with that game.
That's one game I could, for some reason, I can play that game over and over again. I've literally beaten it like 10 times or something.
Yeah, that in high school. Let's not date myself with this. It was either in high school or shortly after we graduated. That was one of my friend's favorite games, and that was the only thing he would play.
Old.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. That was a bad fake cough.
Very, very bad fake cough. Alright, well, that pretty much covers our non-Pokemon related games. Let's talk about a few other things about us. Something that you had already mentioned is that you stream.
I do.
So why don't you tell us about maybe a little bit about the schedule of your streaming, if there is one, and some of the things you do while you stream.
I talk while I stream, which is generally a good thing. I have a schedule, quote unquote schedule. Generally it's like Wednesday to Saturday because I can't stream on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays because prior commitments. Mostly I have to watch all the GBA battles, which, analysts and such. But, I stream. I sometimes stream Pokemon. I'm not, again, meta, a little stale, hard to stream. But I stream Duelist, which is a fun game. I'm trying to get to gold, but unfortunately, I've run into a plague of a 6-game losing streak, and I just lost a bunch of rank because apparently my drawing is terrible. So I actually have a video up on my channel. I replaced the 3 cards in my hand, and I got 3 Emerald Rejuvenators right back out, and I'm like, this game must hate me or something. So it's bad. And if any one of you understands that, then cool. But so I stream that, and I stream Majora's Mask currently, and just those 2 things. It's a lot of fun. I love streaming, so I try not to overload myself. But the Majora's Mask going along pretty good. I just beat the first dungeon with Adolwa. That guy, the one with a really weird name. And we're chugging along, and we're gonna get to the Goron place and fight Goat, because that's a fun boss battle. That was just fun because you've got you actually it's like a race kind of thing, so that's always fun. But that's pretty much it. Sometimes if I'm feeling up to it, I'll stream some Pokemon Showdown because why not? And that's pretty much it. Tup, but you stream sometimes?
Yeah, not quite as frequently as you do, but I mean, usually when I stream, it's either team builder streams or just getting on Showdown and battling viewers, stuff like that.
Yeah, it's I don't know, if you have the time for it, streaming's great. Just
right.
The interaction is just fantastic.
Yeah, you can't beat live interaction with people who enjoy watching your content.
Yeah, which is still surprising that people actually enjoy watching my content. But if y'all are crazy like that,
right?
I'll take it. So, do you want to move into some Pokemon related stuff again, or
sure? We can jump into the favorite things of Pokemon that we like to talk about, which you guys are free to share your favorites as we talk about them in the comments below.
All right, Top. This is going to be an easy one, but people might not know you that well, and they might not understand what the old man in your name means. Yeah. Which gen did you start with, Top?
We started before there were actually colors.
Those were good days.
It was called Pebble and Rock. But realistically, my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Blue, and played a game from every gen since then. How about you?
I mean, first gen, man. Before there were colors on the Game Boy, the old brick.
Yep.
That thing was fantastic. You could really hurt someone with that. Now it's just not the same. But yeah, start with Pokemon Red. Still have my Pokemon Red version. Still know how to do the missing no glitch, and I am no longer looking for the Mew underneath the truck. So,
nice.
But that's your start gen. When did you first start competitive battling though, Tom?
I want to say maybe a couple months into 4th gen. Well, competitively online, of course. I was actually competitively playing during the Emerald series. The very end of 3rd gen, when the Journey Across America tour was going on, which was the 10th anniversary tour, if I'm not mistaken. They went to a bunch of malls across America, and they made a stop in Pittsburgh, and I played competitive doubles for the first time, which was my first competitive experience. And that was interesting, but I've been playing online since a few months into 4th gen came out, and the online competitive battling scene was born.
Yeah, I never... 4th gen... Everyone seems to look kindly upon 4th gen competitive, but I started with 5th gen, late in 5th gen, because I started in 5th gen and then got really tired of the Weather Wars, and then I stopped in 5th gen, and then I came back when X and Y came out. So at least the Weather Wars weren't there. So I've been playing since then, and I got pretty good at UU, and then Oris came out, and I didn't know what was going on with the Megas. And then my favorite Mon in UU got moved up to OU, which was Metagross, because that needed to happen.
Yeah.
And I just you know what? I'm going to stop. And then I came back 3 months into Oris when everything settled down, and I'm like, I can get back into this. So, 5th gen-ish, just 5th gen was just bad. Oh my god, 5th gen competitive was so bad.
Yeah.
Who actually liked playing that?
There are quite a few people who reminisce and think 5th gen was the golden age of competitive Pokemon.
The sand teams were everywhere. They were the
Yeah.
worst. Excadrill, Tyranitar, Garchomp,
Yep.
All right. No.
Okay, so let's move into a little bit more personal. What is your favorite Pokemon?
Huh. I wonder what. Maybe Jolteon? That's my
Possibility.
that's might be the thing that's like on my Twitter and everything. So, that might be. Might not.
So
But yeah,
why do you like Jolteon?
I don't know.
What makes it your favorite?
I had it since 1st gen. I don't know.
Nice.
Like it was either that or Vaporeon was always the. Well, actually no, it was always Jolteon because Blastoise was my first starter, so I would always get Jolteon when I got an Eevee. So I was like, I just got really attached to it. And so Jolteon has always been my favorite, and then there's Blastoise, and now I don't know why, but I really like Kecleon. I don't know why people don't like it.
Just terrible, that's why.
You're terrible.
So?
Kecleon is amazing.
No, it's not.
Listen, yes, it is.
Okay.
You know what? Fine. What's your favorite Pokemon?
My favorite Pokemon, if I just had to pick one favorite Pokemon, I would say Steelix.
Terrible.
Okay,
Boom.
that's fine. It would body your Kecleon.
Listen. Kecleon has Fire Punch and Drain Punch. Steelix got nothing.
Yeah, Steelix is gonna explode in its face and you'll be dead.
But you'll be dead too.
So?
So then you haven't won.
Yeah. We took out your air quote huge threat.
Shadow Sneak. Explosion. You just killed yourself for nothing. Boom. Alright. Kecleon wins.
Dude, there's no way. Steelix defense is like 300.
What do you thought?
Shadow Sneak is do nothing.
Yeah, but you explode on a ghost type, so you tell me.
We got Scrappy. We're not scared.
Steelix doesn't get scrappy.
Mine does.
Can't just change the rules.
Why not?
I said so. All right.
Anything can happen on the knockoff podcast.
Ah. Except for Scrappy Steelix.
Except for Scrappy Steelix. I got Crunch. I could fake you out.
Yeah. Not Kecleon can fake you out.
Yeah, but it's not going to do anything. It'll do like half a hit point of damage.
Does half damage. He already admits Steelix is trash. Steelix is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's my favorite 2nd gen mon, and it was just one of those things. I used to be really big into the Pokemon the trading card game, and it was the first shiny or first holo card I got from the 2nd generation of Pokemon. I don't remember what set it was in. It was probably, oh Lord only knows by the time 2nd gen came out. But I liked the card. It was one of the first steel Pokemon cards I got. And it just got a lot of nostalgia for that card. In 4th gen, I used to run it on a really good team back before Explosion got nerfed. And
Explosion Steelix.
yeah, well, I mean, you had Steelix, and I had Slowking as my core, and I would just run through teams with that back in 4th gen. So I got a lot of love for Steelix.
Nah, I used to play the trading card game so much. I had like a giant bin full, and it was like my first like holo card was Holo Nidoking back in what was it, Jungle or something, the first set. Oh, that was amazing. So I
think the Shiner Nidoking might have been in the base set.
I'm pretty sure it was in the base set because I started with the base set. And
Okay.
then I went till something. I don't remember how long I went into it, but then I stopped, and then a whole bunch of things happened. And I tried getting back into TCG again, and now there's just a whole bunch of things I don't understand. So I'm like,
Yeah.
And like the Charizard back in base set was like super overpowered. 100 damage, what? That's way too much because the most something had for health was Chansey with 120.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh, that 100 damage is like less than half of a mega. I'm like, what? Why? 230 is too much for HP.
Right.
How am I supposed to use my base set Charizard now? It doesn't do shit.
Yeah. So one thing I miss about the original playing the base set TCG was how broken psychic types were, because nothing was super effective against psychic type except psychic types.
Yeah. So it's like you switch in your psychic type and bam, it's dead.
Yeah.
But then again, I think psychic is still only weak to no, it can be weak to dark.
Yeah.
I think. But yeah,
There's quite a few things that resist it now too. Nothing used to resist it.
Because there was nothing that was super effective against it.
Right.
Because for some reason they didn't make Ghost super effective, and even if they did, there was only Gengar, and
Bodied by a psychic move.
And Ghost is physical anyway, so it's it's not like, and Gengar only has base 60 attack, so it was like I ain't doing crap.
Yeah.
So so many things wrong with first gen, but it still holds that special place in my heart. But and I think actually Bug was super effective against Psychic, but
there was like 3 bug moves back then too, which was like Fury Cutter, Pin Missile, and Twin Needle.
No. Fury Cutter was second gen. It was just Twin Needle.
Oh.
And Pin Missile. Yeah, you could get Twin Needle and Pin Missile, and both of them were terrible.
Yeah.
And the best user of Pin Missile was like I don't know, Nidoking.
I think Jolteon had it back in Gen 1.
Yeah, but Jolteon has base 60 attack. That ain't
Yeah. I remember when I played and had Jolteon in Gen 1, I pin missiled everything, and it worked. And double kick. That was always fun.
Yeah.
Double kicking things.
That game.
Yeah.
So many things wrong with it, because just I don't understand. Who knows? Maybe in the remakes they fixed that Ghost is actually super effective against Psychic. You know, for Gengar.
Yeah.
And then Dragonite was still just broken.
Yeah. Back when Hyper Beam, if it killed you, didn't have to recharge. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And remember Lance would just body your team?
Remember when Wrap would just immobilize you?
Yeah.
So, Wrap and Clamp. So, Cloyster used to be one of the best mons, because let me just clamp you. Okay, you can't move for 5 turns. Clamp you again. You can't move for another 5. That annoyed me. And then Hyper Beam. Hyper Beam. Lance won.
Yep.
And then you get to your rival, and it's so much easier. All right. So
what are some other favorite things we can talk about? What's your favorite type?
Electric. Jolteon.
Electric.
I'm guessing for you it's Steel.
Yeah, I until recently, Electric was my favorite type. But now that I am the Bionic Man, I, by virtue of being part Steel myself, have to say Steel is now my favorite type.
This is what you get for getting old, Top.
I know.
But so how about your favorite generation?
Because of what all was entailed in it, I'm gonna say Gen 3. Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald is my favorite game series, and not Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Those games are trash. The original Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, but that also came with Fire Red and Leaf Green, and I played the crap out of those games.
I still play Fire Red and Leaf Green. Those are great games.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I love first gen just because it's first gen. And I know people are like, the first gen sucked. No, it didn't. It was amazing.
Yeah.
But I also love fourth gen because I love the new game mechanics in fourth gen. The physical special split, just like, I was like, finally. I don't understand why all ghost moves are physical. Just makes all of them crap.
Finally, Thunder Punch is a physical move. Thank you, God.
Oh my God, remember Alakazam?
Yeah.
Fire Punch, Thunder Punch, Ice Punch. Well, what do you do?
Broken.
Yeah, 135 bait. That's when Alakazam was really broken. Like,
yep.
Every OU first gen team just Alakazam and just filler, because all you knew was Alakazam and some punches. Alakazam.
Yep, you hit everything. It didn't even matter. And then Psychic, because nothing resisted it until second gen.
Yeah, not until they introduced Steel types, which then became the broken type because it just resisted everything.
Yeah.
And then they nerfed it in 6th gen. It's just like, well, Steel types, you've had your run. It's fairy types now.
Yeah, you had 3 generations. It's someone else's turn.
Move over, Steel types. You've had too long. But I don't know. Do you have any other questions? Because
What's your favorite legendary, quote unquote legendary, not by definition in the Pokedex legendary?
you don't want me to answer Fion? Come on, that's like the best legendary out there.
I mean, if that's what you want to pick. I'm not gonna make you pick anything.
I mean, it's got base 80 stats across the board. That's like legendary rating or Glalie.
Right.
Nah, my favorite legendary. Oh, I don't even know. I mean, there's Mewtwo, which is Mewtwo. Come on, and that movie with Mewtwo. I mean, that was the best Pokemon movie. So
Yeah.
I go with Mewtwo. I could go with. I mean, then Lugia is just awesome. There's too many awesome legendaries, but I'm gonna go with because third gen was also like amazing to me as well. I had Ruby, so I had Groudon, and I love Groudon, so I'm gonna go with Groudon. That was such a great mod. It was just so unfortunate that it just sucked compared to Kyogre.
Yeah. It really did, especially at that time. Now that there's the Primal reversions, it's a little bit better.
I mean, it's so much better than Primal Kyogre. It's ridiculous.
Right.
Because it's just Desolate Land, you switch in,
Yeah.
water moves do 0 to a fire ground, which normally is a terrible typing, but you don't take any damage, whatever then. So
That's really good. Groudon used to be my favorite legendary. From Gen 3 to Gen 5, it was my favorite. Well, till Gen 6 and a half, when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came back out.
mm-hmm.
And the whole Primal thing, I'm not a fan of the whole Primal reversion thing. I think it's crap. I'm not a fan of it, and I think it was a mistake. It destroys the storyline of the Hoenn region, and it just makes me mad. So, I don't like Groudon as much as I used to. And I'm going to go with probably one of the most worthless legendary Pokemon, competitively speaking, that I've just used and had a lot of fun with, and that's going to be Regigigas.
I was gonna guess. I was thinking, do you just use Kyurem?
Oh, Kyurem. Hey, be quiet.
Regular Kyurem is kind of competitively useless. Well, at least in standard, it's not very good.
That's what I was going to say. I've been rocking it fairly decently in the GBA, I'd like to think.
No. Kyurem in the GBA is good. It's got really good stats, decent speed, with a very diverse move pool. So,
Right.
if you want to hear about Kyurem next time for a spotlight, make sure to vote in the comment section down below. I'm so good at this.
That's right. I actually have first-hand knowledge of it, so it'll be easier for me to talk about it, too. But yeah, Regigigas. Back in 4th gen, when you could do anything you want to a Pokemon and it not crash your game, you could have Hackmon battles on Wi-Fi and they didn't check anything because the servers weren't nearly as updated as they are now, but there also weren't nearly as many DCs as there are now. But, I mean, I had a match back in the day with some of my buddies. We'd just have Hackmon matches, and I'd give Regigigas huge power and belly drum, and then just stab extreme speed everything to death. It was fun.
That ain't broken.
Not at all.
I mean, to be fair, so when PK Hex was still a thing, it was really easy to gen mons, which I still don't know how to do anymore because, everything is getting patched. But I genned myself 2 things that were hacked. I genned myself a whole bunch of legitimate Pokemon, but 2 things that I really wanted was actually 3 things. I have a huge power slacking with extreme speed and Dragon Dance.
Nice.
I've got a Wonder Guard Jolteon with Air Balloon, so it can't die. And I've got an already Mega Evolved Mega Metagross with huge power.
Nice.
And extreme speed and Dragon Dance, because everything needs Dragon Dance.
Right.
So it's already Mega Evolved, so I don't even have to Mega Evolve it, and it can hold any item, so I give it a life form. And this is why having Pokemon that are Mega that don't have to hold an item are just broken.
Yeah.
How about you, Mega Rayquaza? That just...
Yep.
But yeah, I hacked in a few things. It was fun. I get to use in the battle Maison, so I can just blow through and get a whole bunch of battle points. Listen, if you want to call me a cheater, I don't really care. But, I can't use it on Battle Spot, unfortunately. I don't see why not. It's not like it gives me a competitive advantage or anything, but,
Right.
isn't everyone running around with the huge power of Slay King with, Dragon Dance and Extreme Speed?
Yeah.
I had Extreme Speed, and I think I also had, Sucker Punch, just in case of ghost types.
We should have Shadow Sneak for that.
Ah, Shadow Sneak. That's a good option. I can't change it anymore, though. Because, PK Hex.
That was always my setup. The Belly Drum, the Mach Punch, the Shadow Sneak, and then the Extreme Speed.
Because
you hit everything.
I mean, yeah, you've got Mach Punch for the steel types, you've got Shadow Sneak for the ghost types, and you just got Extreme Speed for everything else.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mach Punch also for the rock types. Can't forget the rock types.
All right.
Yeah. But yeah, that is, it's just unfortunate. Nintendo patches everything. It's like, can't let us have any fun. It's like, oh, you want Hackmon battles? No. What am I supposed to use my bad eggs for? They're just sitting there.
Yeah, go to Showdown.
Yeah, but anything goes. It's just all Mega Rayquazas. You get teams 6 Mega Rayquazas. Just like, let's do this. I'm like,
well, I mean, they're not broken. Why wouldn't you use 6 Mega Rayquazas?
Yeah, they're not as broken as a huge power, already Mega Evolved Mega Metagross.
Yeah.
But what can you do?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, that was all the things I have written down. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I rambled on long enough about things.
And I think we're right about the hour mark. So this is probably a good spot to quit for the first episode. Especially if we want to make them longer in upcoming episodes. Woof.
Yeah, we'll have other things to talk about in upcoming episodes.
Oh, especially if we have guests. That'd be easy peasy.
Yeah. Because Blue can talk for hours.
Yeah, I know.
I know as well. I've been in calls with him before.
So it was always fun. In the D-League, Blue and I did the pivotal moments, and we would spend an hour, if not two, just talking about the pivotal moments before we recorded, and then the recording was like 5 minutes long.
Yeah, when I took over for pivotal moments, we were talking an hour about not pivotal moments, and then it's like, oh, we should probably record this now, and then talk an hour afterwards, and it's just like,
yep.
Well, now what? Okay, we didn't talk about anything relevant for like 2 hours, so oh well. But he's a talker. What can you do?
Yeah, that's why we love him.
Yeah.
Well, alright guys, I think that's going to wrap up the first episode of the Knockoff Podcast. Let us know if you have any knockoff questions you'd like to ask. Leave them in the comment section down below. If there's anything you think we could do to improve this Knockoff Podcast, leave your knockoff suggestions in the knockoff comments down below.
I'm sorry, just you keep repeating knockoff. It gets to me. It's funny.
I enjoy it. I'm really glad we decided on that for the title for this.
The knockoff, better than the genuine article.
That's right. Knockoff, the best move in Pokemon and the best podcast on the net.
I came up with that one.
You did, and I stole it.
Oh. But yeah, I can't. Oh, yes. I'm proud of that one. I'm really proud of that one.
It was a good one. Well, alright guys, this has been the inaugural episode of the Knockoff Podcast. Thank you for sticking with us if you're still around at this point. I'm OldManTup.
And I'm Burke.
And we'll catch you on the flip side.
Peace.